think that the Fed, they're meeting later in July, I believe, towards the end of the month. They'll tighten by another 50, maybe 75 basis points. I think they're trying to kind of front load because they know the economy is going to come to a screeching halt. I think that they're trying to bring inflation down with all their might. But my guess is, yes, it will come in, but they're basically going to force the US into a recession. And that mainly could mean that you see the whole world enter into a recession as well. So that's my biggest fear here, is that the Fed has always played from behind, right? They played from behind in 2008, 2009, not starting any sort of quantitative easing until 2009. And even in COVID, they kind of were a little late there. But when they came in, they came gangbusters in. They always have a tendency to go too hard and be late, so they're trying to play catch up. And I think that this is that situation where, yes, I think interest rates need to go up, but doing it this quickly, you are sending a shock, especially when commodity prices are already hurting the market. Inflation is already hurting the consumer. Now you're basically causing the housing market here in the US to come to a screeching halt and start to decline, many, many other things. So my only concern is that they're doing it too quickly to try to get back in front of the situation, and that could ultimately cause a recession.
Quite a bit of gold starting to appear here.
There's gold in them thar hills.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Oh yeah, there is gold in them there hills. I was jokingly talking to a friend of mine, and I said, look, with everything happening the way it is, don't be surprised if we don't see another gold rush happen all over again. You're going to have people going all through the mountains, all through the creeks, people shooting each other up over claims, claim jumpers, old West style happening, but with modern times. That sounds a little dramatic, but you never know. It seems to be pointing in those directions. But man, aren't these a couple of lovely trays of gold? I'll take either one or both at the same time. I don't know about you guys. Anyways, I was watching the debate happen within the group. And of course, I still think to this day, it is kind of funny watching gold and silver investors versus crypto investors. Each one's poking fun at the other's failure, which the conversations are funny. But you know, the last thing you want to do is point at the failures of somebody's investment, okay? Because it hurts. I don't care how you look at it, it hurts. Unless you are a super wise investor and you found a way to reduce and minimize your loss, which a lot of people who are experts in the field can do. But for amateurs or speculators, it's not very easy to do. And a lot of people lost their butts off. But I do want to point out a couple things to you that I think are important for you to pay attention to. So let's go ahead and check those out. The first thing I want to point out is, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you are not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, go check out our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. I have noticed over the last couple of days that cryptos are still in the green. I do notice that. They took a small dip last night, but it recovered nicely. I was saying that Bitcoin was staying between $20,000 and $21,000. It is up above the $21,000, as you can clearly see, at $21,433. Ethereum, I was saying, was somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200, but they are up at $1,356. So our crypto started to make a rebound. Be careful. Be careful. Don't be fooled. Don't get me wrong. I love the increase in cryptos, despite the fact that I'm not a big fan of theirs. And that is because, what's that old saying? A high tide lifts all ships. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a moment. I had this one guy who has a YouTube channel. We won't name his name. And he really kind of went at me saying to stop talking bad about XRP, because it's going to change people's lives. I was like, oh yeah, it's going to change people's lives, all right, for the worse. And he said it wasn't true, that they're not part of the New World Order movement. So I send them the links to my videos pointing out with evidence that they are part of the New World Order. It's funny because later on he did a video slowly, and I mean slowly, it looked like, backtracking his enthusiasm for XRP. I think what he didn't want to do was just come all out and say, look, XRP is going to be bad for you. He just slowly told people to be careful because he's hearing some rumors. Look, it's not a matter about who's first or last. It's all about getting information out truthfully. That's all it is. Let the people decide what they want to listen to. I wasn't making this up about XRP, but you can see XRP is down around 35 cents. And no, I'm not saying that's because of me. What I'm saying is people everywhere are waking up to the fact that XRP is not good for you. I understand that, people out there believing it's going to go to the moon. It might go to the moon, but that's a rocket I definitely don't want to be on because it has a self-destruct button as soon as you land on that moon. So XRP's at 35 cents, Cardano's at 45 cents, Solana's at $39.97. Dogecoin, will it ever get above 6 cents again? I don't know, but it's been there for a little while. Polkadot's at $7.14. Oh, Shiba, sitting at 4011. It's not doing a whole lot of movement. Polygon is at 73 cents. If you look at the 52-week chart, you can see that most of them are sitting over to the far left, and we know how bad it is to support anything on the far left. A little political jab there. But as I was stating, high tide lifts all ships. Saitama sitting at 2031. It had gotten down to 202, but it's back up to 312. So we like to see that type of movement. I do own Shiba and I do own Saitama because my thing is I don't care. Whatever happens to them, happens to them. I didn't put a lot of money into them, maybe about $100, $200 in each one of them. And I said, screw it. Let's see what happens. You never know. The other coin that I dropped $100 in just to see what would happen. Luna. This is me when I bought it, when it flattened out. I said, what the heck? So I bought some, like lots of them. Actually, I think I spent like $50. That's what it was. I don't want to put too much into it, but for $50, you got a whole lot. And I think all in all, I got 605,000 Luna coins. If you remember correctly, at one time, they were sitting at $113 per token. Okay? So my thought is, heck, we'll see. I'll just ride this bad boy. And let's see if it recovers and gets anywhere remotely close to where it was. Well, then I'll be sitting pretty. People are asking about the Russian ruble. It is rebounded slightly. It was up there to 0.019 at one time. I think this is it right here. And then all of a sudden they took a hit as the New World Order took a swipe at Russia. And they tried to do something against the gold prices and caused the value of the ruble to go down. We all know what happened. We saw what happened to the gold prices. And so it affected the ruble, but only slightly. The effect was so small that people weren't paying attention. But anyways, as you could clearly see, it is rebounding once again. But to make sure that his ruble is strong, what did I say that countries would do to protect their currency? Most likely they're going to outlaw, ban, or do away with cryptocurrencies because they don't want anything competing with their local currency. Here's a good example of that. So Putin signs a law prohibiting crypto payments in Russia. Why? Because you need the demand on the ruble for it to stay strong. So if you remove anything that competes with it, now he's not doing away with cryptos altogether. He's just saying you can't make payments in cryptos, which is almost the same thing. It says people in Russia will no longer be allowed to use digital assets as a form of payment. Doesn't say investment. Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a bill into law prohibiting the use of digital assets such as cryptocurrencies and NFTs to pay for goods and service. In addition, as protocol notes, the new law also requires crypto exchanges and providers to refuse transactions in which digital transfers can be interpreted as a form of payment. There you go. This is exactly what I was talking about. A lot of countries most likely are going to do, so don't be shocked and surprised. In order for a country to survive this crash that's coming up, One of the things they're going to need to do is protect their own currencies. Where a lot of other countries are trying to murder their fiat dollars, Russia is trying to strengthen their dollars. We take a look at the silver price. It is at $18.73, slowly climbing back up. As you can see here on July the 13th, it took a nice little dive and is starting to slowly but surely climb up. As I was stating, the drop is an effort to cover as much contracts as possible. But these New World Order people are running up against a multitude of problems that are preventing them from holding the price down too much. One is, you can see right here, a 9.1% inflation. Not to mention there is a shortage on precious metals. I'm going to show you here in just a couple minutes. The demand for silver and gold hasn't deterred at all. The demand continues to climb exponentially, and you better be on that bandwagon. Silver, $18.73. Gold at one time did drop below $1,700. We're talking about the central banks trying to load up on as much of it as possible. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here in just a moment and why they're doing it. So of course they want to hold the price down, plus it's gold delivery month. So around the same time that silver is being smacked down, of course, you should not be surprised that gold was too. Gold was up there around $1,742. It actually slightly dipped below the $1,700 mark for a little bit, but is now back up at $1,708.60. Ralphie is one of those people out there that know the market inside and out and has a lot of good things to say. This is compliments of Arcadia Economics, our friend Chris over there at Arcadia Economics. I will leave a link to his YouTube channel. I encourage you guys to go check him out. And Rafi has his own YouTube channel right here, although this is interesting. But anyways, Rafi does talk a lot about the precious metals market, along with a couple other things that are political, but I will leave a link to his as well. But let's hear what Rafi has to say about gold, silver, and the comics.
But Europe is teetering and it will fall. And then the dollar will be alone among fiat currencies until the banking system in the US also starts to teeter and the final printing round will begin. The slingshot is going to be spectacular. You just got to understand the business cycle and get through it. It's coming. If we go into some little bit of technicals here, we have junk premiums, junk silver premiums now pushing 27%, pretty much where they were at bear market bottom 2015 in November, December 2015. That was the record barring financial crisis. Obviously, 2020 was a monetary crisis from the COVID era, and 2008, obviously, the financial crisis then. We are now at levels of bear market bottom, and we still have a financial crisis ahead of us. Where are premiums going to go? They're going to go damn high.
For those of you who are unaware what they mean by junk silver, it's weird to call it junk silver because it's not actually junk. There's another name it goes by is constitutional silver, which to me sounds more patriotic, and I love that. But anyways, you go over to Money Metals, they do have constitutional silver. If you go over here to this silver tab and it drops down the menu, go over here where it says junk silver, you can click it. And you have options of what type of junk silver you can get. So they have pre-1965 dimes. They're all 90% silver. They have quarters, they have half dollars, and I believe they have dollars. So you could come over here and buy your junk silver from Money Metals. Their premiums are the most competitive out there, so this would be a good deal for you. Here is the half dollars. Each coin is 90% silver. Okay, I know they call it junk silver, but let me explain why it's called junk silver. Okay, of course, silver is not junk, but let me explain what we mean by junk silver. When silver is in circulation and it becomes dirty and damaged and dinked up and worn, like you see here, it's pretty beat up. There's scratches all over them. They're pretty dirty. The outsides of the rims are really worn. This is junk silver because it has no collectible value, but it has silver value. So it's junk to collectors who like mint condition coins. See, I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. So you can see the coin on the left is uncirculated. It has a better shine. The details are there. It's not dirty. You can see the hairlines on here really nicely. You can see the impressions all the way around, very clear. On here, it's dirty, it's scratched up, it's worn here. Some of the letters are pretty worn. this is a circulated coin, this is an uncirculated. To collectors, this is more desirable. Don't get me wrong, circulated coins are collectible too, but it's when it gets to a point where it's so worn and so beat down that it's uncollectible, and we call that junk silver. That junk silver term comes from people who collect coins. The better term should not be junk silver, it should be constitutional silver. It's not junk in terms of precious metals, it's only junk to collectors. I've been through some of these bags, and I would not say that all of them are junk. There's some of them that still have some collectability. In the worst case scenario for this coin, it's at least going to give you the value of the precious metal. $1.40 worth of junk silver is equivalent to 1 ounce of silver mount value. So if you mount the coins down, you will get 1 ounce of silver. So when I say that I've been through some of these coins and some of them have collectible value to them, that means they're even worth more than its silver value because of its collectability. So some of the coins are in really nice condition. All right, so it's not all junk. So go check out our friends over there at Money Metals. You know the deal. If you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, Pimpy. Sorry about that long interruption. Let's get back to Ralphie.
And on the delivery front, we have a continual drain in COMEX supplies. We are down to 62.7 million ounces, where the red line I drew over here. This is now, it looks like, to be a 60% fall from the post-silver squeeze one highs. Silver is draining from the COMEX. People are taking advantage of the spectacular low spot price at these prices.
So last night I did a video and I said that, hey, the contracts are continuing to dwindle down. Somebody says, you keep talking about contracts and contracts this and blah, blah, was complaining. And I said, this is what I'm talking about. So the COMEX has to deal with deliveries. There are people out there that have tickets in which they want the actual physical delivery of the metal, but they don't have enough ounces of silver to cover these contracts. They have sold more than they have. So what they're doing is they're shorting silver. In other words, keeping the prices really low or dropping them prices down to scare amateurs and speculators into parting with their physical silver. Then they take that silver and they cover the contracts, as many of them as possible, because the ones that they can't cover, they're going to have to pay out the yin-yang for. Or if the people demand this silver, then they're going to have to go out and buy silver at a much higher price than what it is they sold it to these people for. That's why they changed the wording in their contract, saying the amount of silver that's supposed to be delivered or cash equivalent as settlement. Now you know why.
We can expect the drain to continue. There's about 12,540 contracts worth of silver left for delivery, and it will keep falling in the weeks and months ahead.
So either way you want to look at this, whether this was a design to destroy the American dollar and the country itself so that everybody falls in line with this new world order movement set by the Great Reset, or this was just piss poor money management by our government, either way there has to be accountability. We have got to go out there and make it perfectly clear to any and all politicians that we are not going to follow in the footsteps of communist Canada. You have the Democrats now holding Canada up as the prime example of the freest nation in all of the world, despite the new policies that just came down. That's a whole other subject that you should be paying attention to, because they did it in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, as all of these former graduates of the World Economic Forum's young globalist leaders have now become leaders of the nation and pushing everybody into this Great Reset. So we have to pay attention to anybody in our politics that uses the word Build Back Better, which comes from the Great Reset. Any of them that support the central bank digital currency, anybody trying to give you universal basic income, anybody trying to force you into green policies are all part of this group of people paid millions of dollars under the table to force countries into a one world government. So it's not that I bash on cryptos. I'm just saying you have to be very careful, because just like cryptocurrencies, gold and silver, we have miners as well. But there's a difference. You see, a power outage isn't going to affect our ability to mine gold and silver. That's the great thing about using gold and silver. It's out of the system. The only way we can increase this money supply is to actually go out and physically mine it, okay? And I have no problem with it because I'm right here in the gold country. And from 3 years ago, when we had the heaviest rains we'd ever had, huge floods took place, 400 new veins across Northern California of gold that were exposed. So everybody's having a field day. But get ready because gold and silver prices are going to skyrocket here soon. Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you guys think down below. How many of you guys actually go out and do any panning of gold? If you have a location where there's old tailings from the olden days, I might recommend you get out there with a metal detector and give it a swipe here and there, because over here in Butte County, Butte, California, a guy found a 6-pound gold nugget going over old tailings using a metal detector. I don't know about you, but I sure the heck would love to have a 6-pound gold nugget right about now. Anyways, are you guys anywhere where you guys can go out there gold panning? I'm just curious at how many of you actually do it. That's it for now, you guys. I will check in with you later. I am out.